Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Cure. You're watching The Benjamin Cure Show. After today, I can finally stop saying the NFL regular season is upon us. No, not anymore. It's finally here. Tonight, regular season action begins in Los Angeles as the Bills take on the defending Super Bowl champs, the LA Rams. The game starts at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time, and I couldn't be more hyped for the start of the NFL regular season. So let's start with an overview of tonight's game. We know that Tre'Davious White will not be playing tonight. That right there could be Buffalo's undoing. I love Josh Allen and the weapons, but I don't love the offensive line or the run game. The O-line matters a lot to me, especially when you're taking on the best pass rusher in the league on opening night. Aaron Donald will not be denied. He'll find a way to get to Allen. And the Bills' questionable O-line, I'm really not liking the possibility of how often Aaron Donald can break through to Josh Allen. And speaking of quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford. I'll admit, I originally thought that Stafford's elbow was being underplayed. I thought there should be more cause for concern on that story. But as it turns out, it's actually the opposite. Most people think from around the team and around the league that the story was actually overplayed, and they expect Stafford to be just fine, which means the Rams are walking into SoFi Stadium tonight with a healthy Matthew Stafford, a good offensive line, a great pass rusher, a great corner, a clear wide receiver 1 and 2, a healthy running back duo, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. When I look at NFL teams and I evaluate them, I look for completeness. For the Rams, there is no hole in their roster. They are complete beyond the 53-man roster. Just this afternoon, the Rams announced that they were extending head coach Sean McVay and GM Les Snead until 2026. Bringing back success, not letting the best parts of your organization just walk out the door and leave. This is why I had them ranked at number 2 on my Ben's Best list. The only reason they're not number 1 is because repeating is very hard, and I expect at least a slight Super Bowl hangover. But circling back to tonight's matchup, with all things considered, with it being opening night, I'm picking the Los Angeles Rams. Everything points to them being prepared, and there are some signs indicating that it's just not working out to be Buffalo's night right now. The game is definitely not a blowout. I'm sure it probably comes down to the fourth quarter, and that is where I see the more complete team shining through. What a great opening weekend of college football. We had a great weekend, great way to kick things off. The stars are doing their thing. Some of the new guys have stepped to the plate in a big way, and I think it's safe to say that more quarterbacks will be taken in the first round of this year's upcoming draft compared to last. So let me start things off with the quarterbacks. I think we can all agree that young quarterbacks can be so exciting. These young guys either being true freshmen or sophomores that just burst onto the scene and make an immediate impact. We've got some pretty recent examples that are super successful, like Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama. He stepped onto the college football national championship game at halftime and just won the whole thing in a storybook finish. He was just a sophomore. The year right after that, another young quarterback stole the crown. 2019 national championship, Trevor Lawrence led the undefeated Clemson Tigers to a face-off against another undefeated juggernaut in Alabama, and of course Tua. But the younger, better quarterback won this game. The Tigers won the whole thing in a 44-16 beatdown, and that really solidified Trevor Lawrence as the generational talent and highly coveted prospect that we consider him to be today. Those were 2 very cool years of college football. Really unforgettable. We watched energetic, electric young quarterbacks just shake up the college football landscape and take it for their own. But after that, we witnessed the unstoppable rise of arguably the greatest quarterback in college football history. Joe Burrow wasn't just unstoppable, he was undeniable. Over 5,000 passing yards, 60 touchdowns, over 76% completion percentage. Just insane numbers and stats. I'm going to skip to 2021. Now fast forward to last year, we got Stetson Bennett. Prior to last season, Stetson Bennett was seen as undersized, underprepared, and underqualified. Remember, he wasn't even the clear starter. But what the public failed to see was his understanding of the quarterback position, his understanding of the game, his understanding of situational football. He's not the guy who's looking to hit a home run on every single play. He plays methodical football. But when his team needs him and they need that big play, he'll hit a grand slam. When Coach Kirby Smart needs him, Bennett can and will hit it out of the park. So Tua and Trevor Lawrence, young, exciting, burst onto the scene. What about Burrow and Bennett? Not as young, definitely not considered young. They were probably considered older by college football standards. They're not immediate impact guys who took over from day one of freshman year. But they are experienced. They have perspective. And they've grown with time. The mistakes, wins, and losses. They're more battle-tested. They're better when it comes to situational football because they've been in more situations. They weren't just day one undisputed stars. Their dreams of playing in the NFL weren't always certain. And they probably had stretches of doubt and questioning themselves if they could ever make it. They're motivated. They have a chip on their shoulder. And in my opinion, these older college quarterbacks are a more fulfilling watch. We as Americans and as sports fans love an underdog story. You feel for them and their journey and what it took to get those guys to get to this point. Because it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows. They weren't always handed the crown and a throne from the beginning. The lights weren't always shining on them. Yet, according to history, those guys end up being some of the most successful down the line. College football analyst Joel Klatt shared some great stats just this last week, and he shared them over the years, that show a correlation between Super Bowl appearances and a more experienced college quarterback. He actually has a new podcast this week, the Joel Klatt Show. Definitely give it a listen. But my point is, college quarterbacks with more experience tend to win us over. They're the hardest workers in the room with everything to prove, and the bar is just so high for them. Not making it is simply not an option. And it's incredible to watch them play with all that passion and drive. When Tua and Trevor Lawrence were the guys in college football, and I was even younger than I am now, I loved it. It was exciting to watch people who were young make an impact early. But there is something about watching older, more seasoned college quarterbacks who, after all their hard work in the shadows, are finally succeeding. It is so wholesome and fulfilling and downright motivating to watch. You want to root for them because they absolutely deserve it, and you can't help but just get behind them. That's why, for me, watching Stetson Bennett and Georgia are just must-watch football. Seasoned and experienced quarterback with massive success late in his college football career, yet humble to his very core. And truly, no one more deserving of that level of success. There were all these questions coming into last week. Talk that Oregon was their highest-rated opponent, and there was even more speculation saying the team just wasn't the same after losing their defense to the NFL draft. But Georgia looked beyond all that noise, over the hill, over the mountain, and they just continued working. They went through the grind like nothing's changed, and it shows. Stetson Bennett lit up the box score with 368 passing yards and 2 touchdowns and a 49-3 victory over Oregon. Spoiler alert, that defense is just fine. After all that talk in the offseason, Georgia's defense is not too shabby. And Stetson Bennett is still great. He's an excellent leader. He always puts the ball in the right place. He gets the ball out quick. But by the same token, he knows when to extend the plan. He knows when to go for the home run. So, in case you haven't figured it out yet already, I am high on the Georgia Bulldogs this season. I'm absolutely buying what they're selling. And knowing what he brings to the table, I love Stetson Bennett. He's that guy. Remember, write a note, write a little post-it. Tonight and moving forward, Thursday Night Football is on Amazon. If you haven't downloaded the app already, go ahead and do so. Create your account, subscribe, do all that billing info stuff. Make sure you've got that ready because it's going to be an exciting night of football. But first, Sunday Night Football is going to be a good one too. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams have the same key issue: an offensive line that's been weakened by injury and loss of talent. But with that said, the Buccaneers have the superior weapons, have the better quarterback, and have the better coaching staff. This is the worst offensive line that Dak Prescott has ever had. And I don't think it's going to be very pretty in Dallas this season. They're not, with the times, they're not putting money in the right spots. More specifically, they're not paying the right positions. This season spells disaster in Dallas. Then closing week 1, Russell Wilson faces his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, on primetime Monday Night Football. While Russell Wilson showcases his new friends on the Denver Broncos, ESPN is going to debut their new dynamic duo in the booth. Broadcasters Joe Buck and Troy Aikman will kick off a new era of ESPN Monday Night Football in what is probably the most highly anticipated commentary booth in recent history. ESPN hasn't had a team like this on the mic since probably the days of Howard Cosell on Monday Night Football's telecast. It's sure to be a great watch. But regarding the on-field performances, it's not even close. Not in my eyes. The Broncos have an elite quarterback, strong offensive line, great weapons, good defense. They're taking on Seattle, who, forget about the roster. They're pretty much punting the season. Even though Russ will never say it, Monday night is his revenge game. Russell Wilson's out to prove that he's always been great. The only thing holding him back in recent years was Seattle and Pete Carroll. And that will make for some fireworks on a Monday night clash. I seriously cannot wait. Game time for Thursday Night Football just hours away, so get ready, don't miss it. But until next time, I'm Benjamin Cure. This is the Benjamin Cure Show. The NFL is back, everyone. Enjoy it.